Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. As Craig LeBlanc from the Daily Parks and Recreation Show says, parks and recreation aren't just spaces, they're the soul of our communities. Across America, parks provide more than just a scenic escape. They're places where people connect, stay active, and create lasting memories. Parks promote physical health with trails, sports fields, and playgrounds while boosting mental well-being through the calming effects of nature. Recreation programs bring communities together, offering everything from fitness classes to cultural events. And as Craig often highlights, parks also play a key role in protecting the environment and driving local economies by attracting visitors and increasing property values. Whether it's a family picnic, a weekend hike, or simply enjoying the outdoors, parks and recreation are where life happens. Want to dive deeper into the stories behind America's parks? Tune in to the Daily Parks and Recreation Show with Craig LeBlanc for inspiring insights, tips, and updates about the spaces that bring us all together.
All right. Yes, we are live here with a good friend of mine, Peter Cosmiano from originally from Baton Rouge, or where?
No, I'm originally from Tennessee.
Really? What part?
Jackson, Tennessee, actually,
Okay.
or Bolivar, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of West Tennessee, Memphis, Jackson area.
Yeah.
That was where we grew up. And
Fantastic.
And then undergrad was there, and then I was in New Mexico for grad.
And then what brought you to Baton Rouge?
Not Baton Rouge. I was Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay, I thought you had something to do with St. Joseph's.
I just recruited a lot of.
That's
I
what it
recruited
was.
a lot of
Yes.
kids from
the
all over
academy.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's, Episcopal.
Yeah. All in volleyball, right?
Yeah, just volleyball.
Now, how'd you get into volleyball? That's not.
Volleyball was I played high school baseball, and then went to college, and we were in college at Union University. Fraternity brothers and I we just kind of cut on to volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
And picked that up, enjoyed that. All of our roommates played, and so then luckily, Craig, I was able to go to graduate school as a graduate assistant in volleyball.
Nice.
In New Mexico. And so I was able to get do MBA work, but instead of being in the lab or a teaching assistant, I was the graduate assistant volleyball coach.
No way.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. And so then
that's a fun class right there.
Yeah. So New Mexico was wonderful. I mean, I love New Mexico, northern New Mexico, right above Santa Fe.
What's it like? I've never been.
High mountains. The college campus was at about 7,500 feet.
Wow.
And so we're at the base of the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
So, and then you went straight up the interstate to Colorado Springs, Denver in the Front Range. And so,
oh, that's gorgeous.
An interesting story there. They make the graduate assistants drive the buses. So, here I am and the other guy, Rick Zamora, we're driving the buses with our team all around, around the Continental Divide in these snowstorms.
Oh my goodness! How many busloads of people did not make it back home?
Well, no, we did it, but that was a part of the job as a GA. Our head coach was good, but when he got tired of driving, he looked at us, and we just kind of flipped a coin and did it. It was interesting, but yeah, the mountains of northern New Mexico, man, it was beautiful.
Some road trips there.
The whole southern part of Colorado, we went from Grand Junction to Colorado Springs, up in Nebraska, Kansas, Fort Hays, Kansas, Kearney, Nebraska, where the winds coming off the bus would just, oh my Lord, it was fun though.
Those winds are for real.
They are.
I drove I took the family on a RV trip. And I was a new RV owner, Class C RV. It was a Bounder, a Fleetwood Bounder.
Yeah.
And we decided to go through East Colorado. So there's two ways to get from Louisiana to Colorado. You can kind of either come through Texas, or you can, and then go through, I think, New Mexico or something by the Royal Gorge.
Yeah, the Taos. And see, I was 45 minutes from Angel Fire. Taos. And so you'd go over the Taos Bridge.
Yeah,
Angel Fire.
But man, when we came across East Colorado, those winds were insane.
There's-
Like they'd blow you off the road.
Yeah, and the profile of our passenger team bus and the RV was very similar, and so I mean you had to pay attention. You're not cruising.
No, that's fun to drive if you haven't experienced that.
Oh yeah.
And so, how did you get into? So now you're the Parks and Rec director.
Mm-hmm.
And was that where you're at right now in Jasper? Is that your first Park and Rec director job?
It is. Okay, so after graduate school, so the interesting part is I came into Parks and Recreation from being in collegiate athletics. So before this, I was a college volleyball coach for about 20 years in the Jackson and Clinton, Mississippi area. Millsaps College, where we recruited a lot of the New Orleans folks and a lot of the Baton. Great private academic institution. We were so close to Louisiana that if you weren't going to go to Loyola, Tulane, those places, and you started looking at private schools outside of the state. And so, but that was my love with New Orleans and Baton Rouge and Louisiana volleyball.
Oh yeah.
And so I did that for about 20 years. I'd say it now that I was lucky. My wife let me do that for 20 years. But when we started having kids, we got 3 girls now. She was a nurse. Toward the end of it, we had just gone Division II. Toward the end of it, I was gone every other week during season and then during recruiting. And so we made the decision to start looking at coming back or bringing the grandkids closer to the grandparents. And then one morning, I get a phone call, and my mother-in-law, I got some funny stories about mother-in-laws, but most of them are great. Some of the best suggestions that my mother-in-law's ever done for me hurt my feelings at first, but they're the best things ever. But anyway.
What's a good one?
Okay.
Anyone that come to mind?
Getting a sleep study.
A sleep study?
Yeah. So they spent the night with us. They were going back and forth a lot from Jasper to Clinton. She's a retired teacher and he was an attorney at the time. But they were able to come see our kids, and she just noticed, my mother-in-law just noticed my snoring was pretty loud. And so she mentioned something to my wife, Rebecca. Rebecca mentioned it to me, kind of hurt my feelings. But then I listened, and you know what? Let's go do a sleep study. So I did a sleep study, got a CPAP, and my life has changed, dude. It's the greatest thing in the world. Everybody needs a CPAP. Everybody should get a CPAP.
Now, what is a CPAP? I'm not even familiar with that.
CPAP is if you've got this medical condition, or like me, you just got a big, thick Filipino neck. You end up snoring a lot, not really resting, and you stop breathing.
So you're not getting really deep sleep.
So it's a medical device that just pretty much just pumps air into you. So the great thing is I haven't had a sinus infection in 15 years.
Wow. All due to this CPAP?
I'll do this, because when you're resting, it's shooting air through your system. Your sinuses don't have a chance to get clogged. But we digress. But anyway, my mother-in-law saw this advertisement for a Park and Rec director in their hometown. And it was one of those things where when the opportunity comes up, you got to take it. Difficult for me because we had just signed our second class in Division II. Mississippi College went full scholarship. We were fully funded. So, but you make decisions for your family, and you knew it's the thing to do. I was just the one that needed to adjust. And so, but needless to say, we did that, went through the whole civil service process and got the Park and Rec director job in my wife's hometown of Jasper, Alabama.
I didn't realize she was from Jasper.
Yeah, she is.
So those of you who hadn't been, it is the most picturesque little town.
It's a cool little place. The town's about 14 to 15,000. The county's about 60,000.
How far is that from Alabama? Birmingham.
45 minutes.
Yeah. So not far.
Not far.
Northwest?
Yeah. Yeah, Northwest.
Yeah.
But the great thing is, Craig, is that, and I don't think I told you this because when we first met, I was just starting.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You had just
I mean,
started.
we were just trying to get our head above water
Mhm.
in the job. But the cool thing is that my kids are going to the same school and walk the same hallways that their aunts, that their mom and their aunts did.
No
Not only
way.
that, but their grandfather.
Yeah. Oh,
I
that
mean,
is cool.
when we moved there, my oldest child, Eleanor, her first classroom at the middle school was in her grandmother's old classroom.
Wow.
Oh yeah. So I mean, those things are special.
Yeah.
And if you don't, that's just some of the wonderful things that have happened when you kind of make a life change and you wonder, did you do the right thing? Well, I think you have those signs that come up. Plus, we would see chicken and dumplings from my mother-in-law every other week or something at the
Oh,
front
nice. Yeah, you can't beat that. That's how they keep you.
door. So take chances, folks. If you're out there, trying to figure out if you're going to change jobs or move, take
Mhm.
chances.
So
you
how
never
many
know.
years is it that you've been director over?
Oh, I think about eight.
Oh my gosh.
now.
It's been that long?
Yeah, so it's been that long since we bought lights from you.
Wow. Wow. This was Peter was one of my first LED light buyers for our sports arena light. We had just gotten it. We had been making lights for like heavy industry and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, and we first met at a fall conference. You just came out and sat down next to us because you provided the dinner. I was like, "Who is this dude, man?"
Yeah.
And then I found out a little bit more about you and your
Yeah.
your college athletic career, and
Oh yeah. Was
you
a Kentucky cheerleader.
he was a cheerleader. He was a competitive cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
If what is it, Patreon or stuff? If you guys give him enough money, we'll see if he can pick me up.
That's it. Or just buy a few more LED lights from us. That's how we fund this whole channel. But it's it's a great little town, man.
Yeah,
I really
it's
enjoy
good.
it.
So I was down there. That's where we just recruited a lot of the Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and got to know a lot of those coaches and those club directors, and just wonderful people. I mean, some of the parents that we had in Louisiana through the years, just welcomed me as a coach, but also just became really good friends. And
Yeah.
And it's if you have memories, it's best to have good memories. And so
Absolutely.
that's how I feel about Louisiana. And then like, for instance, one of our he actually is one of the godparents of one of our children. He's the trainer, still a trainer at Mississippi College, but just ends up being good friends. But he's from Baton Rouge, the Baton Rouge area, and so I have to cheer for the LSU Tigers whenever
Oh yeah.
I see them.
Yeah. Now I live about 3 blocks from LSU campus.
Oh, that's awesome!
Right out the south gates, right? The south gates of LSU.
Haven't spent much time there. What is the lab school?
Yeah, that's right.
The
That's
lab school
down the street from me.
Great volleyball team.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they had a couple of players. I mean, of course, this was 10, 15 years ago, but yeah, they had some really great talent there.
Yeah.
At the high school there, at the lab school.
Now, what division are they? Are they 3A?
I don't know, because Louisiana's changed so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But look, let me tell you guys. I mean, if you ever want to just experience something in its element, go to any state championship in Louisiana.
Oh, it's something else.
Any sport.
Yeah.
And it's better if the teams are from farther out, because they bring the whole town.
They do. They really do.
They bring the whole town. Ascension.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Ricky's a good friend of mine. He's over at Ascension right now. Ricky
Ascension. And it was wonderful to watch, because when I was coaching, they had just this wonderful kid, and had some big rivalries. But that whole place, and then Mount Carmel, and then all the nuns show up.
Oh right.
I mean, it's just. Then you see the Newman folks. I mean, the volleyball state championship in Louisiana is one of the.
Where do they host it at?
It used to be at the Pontchartrain Center.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you'd have 4 or 5 courts going. I mean, it's electric, man.
Yeah. And
there's some great coaches there too.
Now, are you still involved in it? I know that now that you're the director, how involved are you able to be in volleyball stuff?
Well, A little bit. You kind of have to change your focus a little bit. And so when I got to Jasper, really needed to focus my time on the department, on the new profession, on the new job. And there is this guy there. His name is Bobby Daniels. I actually recruited some of his players in the past. One played for me at Mississippi College, but Coach Daniels actually became the coach, the volleyball coach in Jasper at the high school, and we had known each other. And so he would keep asking me year after year, "Hey, do you want to coach club? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this?" Like, man, I'd love to. I miss volleyball, but I came here to do this.
Yeah.
And so once we got the day job kind of settled and structured like we wanted it to be, and made inroads with the community, I think then I was able to give a little bit more time to his high school program.
Right.
And so then we just ended up coaching and doing some club and stuff together for about 3 or 4 years. And so, but now my volleyball is with, just being the park and rec director, doing volleyball with the little kids up to 12 years old. I mean, we'll still do a little bit left, and just some folks here and there. Give some
How young do
lessons
y'all
to.
start? Or 12 on up? Or
No, our park and rec, we go 5 and 6, maybe. No, 7 and 8. I've got to get on my sports. Probably 7 and 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
Wow.
Those are our age groups. And so, but I like the training and the program that we kind of put out, and luckily through Coach Daniels and now through this new Coach Bowen, they understood the importance of getting in front of park and rec kids, the young kids. I mean, and we don't have a 4-year school in the area, and so the high school coaches are the top of the iceberg as far as athletic goes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, we're here to support their programs, and we're here to, we're a feeder system for them. And if we can get their system and their verbiage and their language and their drills implemented early to our park and rec kids, it just helps their program in the future.
Right.
Plus, if we can educate parents, this is kind of how to act, how not to act, and these are the good things, these are bad things, then we can probably, put good parents or experienced parents or parents with perspective in the stands in the junior high and high schools.
Yeah.
So, I do feel like we've made some inroads with the high school athletic director and some of the sports and some of the coaches. And so I think they see the value, and they're getting involved with us, which we're really appreciative of it.
Right. Now, how important do you think it is for at least early childhood development as far as athletics and getting involved in youth sports or anything like that?
Well, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, what else? So I was a volleyball coach. These soccer coaches, some of my best friends in college, shared an office with the soccer coach at Millsaps College, but I never fully understood soccer. I was always jealous because during summer camps, which is what all college coaches do, I would have to go do camps, run drills, personally work my tail off, break a sweat every day of the summer, every camp I ever did. Right. I see I see one of our soccer guys. He's out there. He's got 150 7-year-olds with cones with a whistle, either speaking in an English accent or pretending to. And that dude's making $10,000 in a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, volleyball coaches don't make that. And so, but when I became a park and rec director, what else can a kid do at 3 and 4 years old?
Yeah. Not much.
They can run and kick.
That's right.
And all you got to do. And so, I think that's really important. And I've learned to appreciate soccer since then. And I guess kind of as a payback, that's one of my middle girl, my 8th grader. That's her. She plays on the high school soccer team.
Yeah.
And so,
and those are the best ages to coach too, if you ever get a chance to.
Yep.
And you don't have to be some specialty guy. I mean, just volunteer as assistant coach. I coached cross country for like 7 years for my for my 5th to 8th graders. It was grade school stuff.
Yeah.
So if you can put one foot in front of the other and not pass out, then you're qualified to be an assistant coach for any cross country team.
Well, look, this is what I tell a lot of our volunteer coaches that we still, I mean, Jasper is wonderful because we have a good amount. We probably fill about 80% of our slots with volunteer coaches and parents.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, some we have to turn away because we have plenty, but there's about 15 to 20% that we've got to talk into it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I tell them like I would tell high school coaches or coaches that coached high school teams that weren't necessarily volleyball players. I'm like, look, volleyball coaches, because they would call us to do camps for them. And it might be the librarian or the math teacher, or the English teacher. And I say, look, as long as you care about the kids and you want to help them get better, we can give you all the rest of the tools.
Yeah.
I can give you all the volleyball drills.
That's it.
But the big thing is you just got to care about the kids.
If you're willing to show up and you care about the kids.
The rest of it can take care of itself. So, and that was high school. There's a little bit of pressure on that. But you back that down to park and rec. We just need you to care about the kids and show up.
That's it. That's it.
And don't yell at them.
That's right.
It's interesting because I heard this at some training. It's like, your athletes, you need them to want to come back the next day.
Yeah.
Hopefully you design your practices, you have those relationships, you're competitive, but whatever you do that day, you want them to come back the next day. And so that's one thing that whenever I can get in front of our coaches or our park and rec coaches or groups, I say, look, I want to give you a little bit of perspective here because we've seen the other end of it. And it's just awful.
Right.
And Bruce Pearl was here last night, and he basically told us how parents can screw up a kid's athletic career.
Right. They can just burn out.
They can, and that's a college kid, but we're looking at this. And so, but we've seen that, and then we've seen the other end of it. But I think part of our job, especially in the recreation, is to help develop the positive thought processes, that are more helpful than hurtful.
Right.
But
because there's so much more going on there than just winning the game or getting better at the sport. There's just a lot of good foundational, I guess, child rearing, adult raising that you're doing here.
It is. And I never really fully understood the whole live through your kid thing, because my parents didn't do, that's not how I was personally raised. My parents were immigrants from the Philippines in the 60s and 70s. They had other priorities than to worry about, our athletic experience.
Love the Philippines. Shout out to everybody in the Philippines.
I know Craig just mentioned that. So if you guys are editing or if you see it, then yeah, I'm a first generation immigrant from the Philippines. But my parents, I was blessed because my parents, I wouldn't say they didn't care, but they had other priorities. They showed up to every game that I had. They were supportive, but I wasn't complain. They weren't listening to any of my complaints, or they weren't, or whatever.
Yeah.
I got a feed, and they were both teachers. My dad worked at a college. My mom was a junior high teacher. They had other things to worry about.
Right.
And so I'm not sure that that's the case right now. And so, I was lucky and I'm blessed. And my wife kind of had a similar experience. She had a lot of support. Her parents and her mom drove her from Jasper to Birmingham to be in a competitive swim league. The whole homework in the car type of stuff. And we've got some kids from Jasper doing that as well. But, because we can only offer up to a certain level. And so I feel like it's kind of part of our responsibility. There's a culture shift, and it's a pendulum swing. And right now I think it's shifting back towards, okay, let's just try to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Because this is what happens when we're focused on the wrong things.
Yeah. And it really, as long as you make it, especially in youth sports, if it's just about the kids having a good time, knowing that they can stay in this, it's not, so high pressure. It's just, let's have a good time.
Well,
work as a team.
There's a place for elite sports. There's a place for select sports. As a college volleyball coach, I recruited club tournaments. I recruited where, club, elite, big time tournaments, those kids right there. But elitism doesn't really have a place in recreation ball. And I mean, I'll go ahead and make that statement now, and then hope you get 10 million hits for that, because what we're trying to move away from, and Major League Baseball actually did a study. They're figuring out that if we want to fix the system, we've got to pour into the rec sports.
Yeah, that's what Chad was telling me. I don't know if you've met Chad Parker over there.
Well, Chad's organization.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Great organization. He was actually on the show right before you. But he was telling me what the Braves are doing to try to pour into that.
But that's amazing. And they're right, because it's just such a, in baseball, it can be a pay to play. Club soccer is the same way. But, a lot of the folks that are here in Alabama, we're running rural parks and rec. And, while there is a place for select teams, while there is a place for, the top 5%, the top 2% of the athletes in your programs, buddy, with public money, I'm worried about the other 98%.
Exactly.
I mean, we're dedicated, and our staff, my staff's dedicated to that other 98%.
Right. And the lessons are still the same. Let's just say you're not cut out to be some pro athlete or even a college athlete. You're still learning to work as a team, overcome obstacles.
Absolutely. Deal with adversity. I mean, adversity is different, but it's still adversity, man.
That's right. And that's going to help you out regardless of your career, because very few people go into an athletic career or even can get through college on some scholarship.
Look, this is, luckily through my other career, I was able to just have access to good training. The NCAA, we went to this thing called Champs Life Skills. The NCAA pointed out that these Division I kids, a lot of and this was 10, 15 years ago, a lot of the mental, some of the mental issues that they had was they felt like they did not have an identity past their athletics or past their athletic performance of that specific game.
Wow.
And that was troubling, because these are just wonderful kids. Now, I was at a Division III school, NCAA Division III, Division II level, but yet, there's a little bit more life balance. But yet, these kids that we see on TV, how many of them, what's their identity wrapped up in? And then let's say, God forbid, they throw an interception, or they have a turnover, or they make a mistake.
Oh, and they get so much hate.
They get hammered, man.
Yeah.
And people, we don't have a right to do that. I mean, I will always be that one person in the room in a public setting at a football game. It's like, these things happen. That's a kid out there.
That's it. You got to remember that. He's just a kid. He's not getting paid to be out there.
They are now.
Oh, well, I guess so.
They're really talented kids, but come on, man. I mean, I met a guy, he's a banker in Jasper. He's become a really good friend, but he was telling me that his week used to be dependent upon if Alabama football won or not.
Oh, yeah.
Like that wrapped up into, I mean, dude, you're in Baton Rouge, same people.
Let me tell you, I have some friends that get pretty emotional.
But he's come to the point where he's like, that's not good for my health.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, I know, but coming from the coach's aspect, it's different, because there's only two people in the stadium that know what each other's going through. That's a head coach on one sideline and the head coach on the other.
Yeah.
Everybody else is just is outside looking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's I think there was a game when Tua threw. So my family's Alabama fan, but Tua threw a touchdown. What to win? Was it the SEC or the national championship or something like that? Everybody was happy, and that was great. But I was talking to my brother-in-law. I said, but here's a different perspective. Coach Saban knew he was going to make that play last week.
Yeah.
He knew. He's been prepping him for that 2 months ago.
All right.
That's what coaches do. Patrick Murphy at Alabama's got a great story about one of his players that was in a hitting slump, but then came back to jack a homer. He put her in. She's a freshman. He took a senior out, put her in. She jacked a home run to keep their hopes alive to in the playoffs. And listening to him, he was like, I knew she was due. I just didn't know when it was going to happen. But he gave her that chance, and but other, some people, just the sideline coaches, they're like, well, how'd you come to that decision? Dude, that decision was made last month in his mind as a coach.
Yeah,
because you prepare for those things.
Yeah, and you can see that talent. You're coaching that talent. You're seeing those skills develop.
Yeah. Well, if you're paying attention.
Oh yeah.
You see a kid struggling, but they're fighting to break through.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned this, because when I was coaching cross country, it's crazy how I could see the potential.
Are we supposed to be talking about Park and Rec?
I think so.
Go ahead.
I could just see the potential in these kids that they couldn't see in themselves, but I'm like, they are just right there. And then you see the progression. You're like, within the next game or two, they are going to just get that breakthrough moment.
I know. And the farther along you get in college, that breakthrough moment, there's a lot more space in between those. At the Park and Rec, at the middle school, at the high school level, that breakthrough moment could be the next practice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but cross country is one of those things that, when a kid figures out whether they want to compete, and the minute they figure out they want to compete, it's wonderful to watch. Swim's another thing.
Oh yeah.
You learn early in Park and Rec if a kid wants to go fast or if a kid just wants to just be out there.
Yeah.
I have one, my oldest, so my wife was a swam. So, but I didn't understand anything. But my oldest, she swam, but she just enjoyed being out there. My middle kid, she just wanted to go fast and hard all the time. It's just a different, But then when they make that decision, it's kind of cool to see. But that's the same with who wants to do cross country, man. All out for.
Man, let me tell you.
Oh,
there are some sports out there. Cross country is one of them, where you can find your limit every practice. Your physical,
every practice,
your emotional limit, your physical limit. You name it. Every practice, you're like questioning life.
But see, that's why those guys seem so different than the general public. I've during preseason at the colleges, man, that was the most wonderful thing in the world, because the only people on campus were the athletes,
right?
And everybody was just working hard.
Yeah.
But those cross country folks, man, they always seemed a bit strange, because they were just, but the thing is, like you said, every practice that week, they hit their emotional and mental and physical limit. Every time
you visit it. And sometimes it's different than the day before. You're like, what happened? What's different? Why am I running so slow? And, and you had mentioned, isn't it supposed to be about Parks and Rec? But I really, this is the kind of stuff, and maybe we can speak to the choice. I told Natalie I'd do this, but we want to raise awareness to why choose Parks and Rec as a career path. And so if, being a part of the formation of kids growing up, forming young adults, stuff like that is something that excites you, get into Parks and Recreation. Let's talk about the career choice that you made when you got into Parks and Recreation.
Well, it's totally different, but it's similar. So, for instance, I was a head volleyball coach. I was responsible for, 15 to 20 for my team, for the schedule and all that stuff. But yet a lot of the outreach we did was with the high school. Switch that to leagues, tournaments, through the college. We hosted basketball regionals. We did all that stuff. And so, that's nothing different than a Dizzy Dean district tournament. That's nothing different than a league that we're running for volleyball. And so, as far as the career goes, there's such incredible amount of options in Parks and Recreation. And a lot of times, so when I first came to Jasper, while I was just doing my evaluations as a director and things like that. And Jasper has its pros and cons and it has its challenges. But, you know, what I wanted to try to get us thinking was to go beyond ball.
Mm.
So historically, in some places, Parks and Rec are your youth sports league. And they represent that. That's what Parks and Rec does. But, you know, realistically, Parks and Rec is everything that has to do with recreation, mountain bike trails, paddle sports. You know, the youth sports and the leagues are just one part of it. You know, in some of the larger cities, you know, it's leisure. And so, you know, like Dothan and Auburn, those guys will have employees. In Tuscaloosa, they're not making leagues; they're renting kayaks. They're doing rope climbing stuff. They're doing all outdoor education.
Now, y'all were trying to do some kind of mountain biking thing.
How
did that go?
Well, we still need some trails there in Jasper, and so that's yes, one of my pet projects is I'd like to get mountain biking trails or a trail system.
Yeah.
I like to ride mountain bikes, but you know, I think we need it for our outdoor and our wellness for the community and things like that. And so, but Craig, we did get the city council, and so we've got a pickleball facility. We've done some other things like that. But as far as careers go, you know, I was telling some of my former assistant coaches, I'm like, look, we've got to feed some of our collegiate athletes into this, because this is exactly what they're looking for. You know, now it might not be the classic. I'm a collegiate volleyball or a collegiate athlete, and then I've got some connections, and so I go become a pharmaceutical rep or a financial planner and do stuff like that. You know, everybody here has taken out trash and cleaned toilets at an 8-year-old baseball game before.
Oh yeah, yeah. You're definitely thrown into the middle of it when you get into Parks and Rec.
But there's so many options out there, and the problem is, while there's so many options, there's not a lot of positions. There's not a lot of there's in Parks and Recreation, there's one director. There's one person that's running a league. And so, you know, that's the great thing about these conferences is we can come get together with directors from other places, with programmers from other places, with swim people, and compare notes, get encouraged, you know, get some energy back again. But, you know, I wish I had 5 positions or entry level positions open to bring in people into now some larger places do.
Right.
They can bring kids in as summer camp help, and you know, while they can bring maybe 20 or 30, we're bringing in 1 or 2. But Auburn, I don't know if you've interviewed her yet. Auburn's got the Park and Rec major.
No,
degree
I'd
program.
love to. She's here. Who is that?
I'll point her out to you. But but they started.
That's new.
Yes,
I think it's last year.
Yeah, 3 professors and I think 10 or 11 students.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a major in Parks and Recreations. And I told her yesterday, I said, look, here's the deal. You get to know all these people. You can place every one of your graduates right now.
Oh, right.
Every one of them.
That's right.
I mean, just make a phone call.
Yep. These are all the people that are looking to hire them.
Hey, the dude in the red shirt. What do you do? Where do you work? You need an employee. But I think the Auburn addition to that, normally I think the college route was you're a PE or education major or something like that, and then you get into it. But and that's not really even a necessity anymore. You know, but you know, we are really happy because, you know, those kids can do internships. It's free help for us,
right,
that we desperately need,
right.
And so, you know, and I know there's some other ones across the country, but you know, a specific Park and Rec major is good because some of the other ones are like facility management, which is in Parks and Recreation, event management, which can be in Parks and Recreation. You know,
and we're trying to turn this this is what we call a discovery major. I think that's the rut we're kind of in. When we say discovery major, from how I understand it, is you discover after you've started college,
sure,
that this is even a thing.
Yep.
And so we're trying to shift it into, wait a minute, even in high school, you're like, I could go into Parks and Recreation, pursue that degree from day one.
Well, and the beautiful thing is now there's career fairs that are inviting Parks and Recreation staff.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, career fairs that ninth graders go through.
Yeah.
Because I know what we do in Jasper and Walker County, and what the county schools do, and what Jasper does. They used our facility one year, and then some. I mean, they were friends, and everybody kind of knows each other. Then they're like, "Hey, do y'all want a table?" Right? Yeah. And so we had staff, and this could be a career.
And where did y'all do that at
We did it at the Civic Center.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
so they bring, I think,
this is all the high schools have these career fairs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the great thing is that now there's Parks and Rec programmers or directors or staff that are manning tables at these places.
Nice.
Yeah. That's good.
That's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we raise awareness to the kids to choose this as a career path. It's just got to get out there among them.
Well, like for instance, I was able to bring one of my daughters here because I knew I was going back. Today's my birthday, by the way.
You were kidding.
No, yeah.
Happy birthday.
So I wanted to be.
We're definitely doing something. I'm getting you a cigar.
I will take it. I wanted to be at the house, and then my youngest kid had a beta club induction. So I wanted to be there for that. So we came down here, and I was able to bring my middle kid with me. And I make a joke because like my kids think all I do is set out chairs, raise and lower flags.
That's it.
And leave when I get a phone call late. I mean, they know what our programmers do, and they know what Stacy does at the natatorium.
Yeah.
But they really think and I'm like, no. So I brought my middle one, and I think her eyes got open to the people that there are other people that do this and other, and this is who I call when all that stuff. So I think exposing those kids to it too. I mean, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But whereas I grew up on a college campus following my dad around, my kids grew up their younger years on a college campus following me around, but now they're kind of growing up in the Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing, I got staff members that raised, whose kids were literally raised in the gyms.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's, I used to drag a lot of my kids to these Parks and Rec conventions and stuff. And so maybe we can talk about that as we wrap it up. So how valuable have these, attending the national NRPA or the local state conventions? If you haven't been to one, Peter's going to tell you why you should attend one. Well,
number one, you get to see your friends.
Oh,
but even better so, this profession it's kind of can be isolated. There's only one park and rec director in Jasper, Alabama.
Yeah.
All right. There's only one park and rec director, and so in Auburn and Gadsden. Yeah. And so, we're able to come here, be around other people that do the exact same thing you do, help solve problems, just kind of validate the stuff that you're doing right. And it's not really a hard group to break into. If you've got a job in Parks and Rec and you come to one of these things, you're one of us.
Oh, right.
It doesn't matter, and they love the young kids because we're like, okay, I might hire you one day.
Right.
Like
you could be sitting next to your next boss, your next employer.
Look,
the next city you're working for.
At everything I go to, I'm trying. It's just like college recruiting for volleyball. I'm trying to look at, okay, I want to meet that person because there's something that I like about that person. Right. But a lot of it is your professional and personal development, because we can come here, we can gather, we can socialize, we can validate each other, and we can learn from each other. And Natalie and the committee does such a wonderful job of giving us programming that we find valuable. There's some things that I need to go to as a park director. I need to go to and I need to see. And yesterday I was reminded, you got to be nice to the public.
Yes. Yeah, Natalie does a great job running this association, by the way.
Oh,
she's the only president I've ever known. I don't know how long she's been doing this.
Well, okay, so I think she was president when I first started. So she's the first one I've known. You know,
she's the first one I met. And she's been there ever
yeah,
since.
yeah. And so I mean, I think she's got a long career in that. But then a lot of the folks that are helping her have long careers.
Robin does a great job.
The beautiful thing is I liken this to the education system. If you're in Parks and Rec, you're in it because you love serving. You better love serving.
You gotta have a servant's heart if you're gonna.
You gotta have a servant because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
But now here at these things, we're able to go get energized, you know, and go out and then take all that back, take that energy back out to the community. And then when we need it again, I'll just call my buddies. I'm like, hey man, I'm having a problem with this. You know, we'll talk it through. And so that's why I think the importance of what we do here. The hotel staff said, do y'all kind of know each other? I'm like, yeah, this is a pretty close group. I mean, we all don't know each other, but we're all family.
They vacation twice a year together. Once in Orange Beach. And then usually a rotating city.
Well, it's good. And so I would encourage, you know, city council members, mayors, let as many as your folks can come to these things because it does nothing but help your own local program.
Right. It's a good investment in your team locally.
Absolutely. And it's their job and it's our job to help develop our staff.
Yeah.
You know,
so you definitely should invest in your staff. Yeah. I heard one of my business coaches would say she had a concerned entrepreneur that would say, well, what if I train them and they leave, you know, because you spend all this money training them up and then they go to another city. And her response was, well, what if you don't train them and they stay?
And they stay. What if, I mean, you know, you have to, well, it all comes back to, you can't be selfish. You got to do the right thing. You got to do the right thing by people. You got to try to help everybody. And you had to throw in a little bit of grace.
That's it. Definitely.
That's the hard part, dude.
Yeah. Be patient with the process. It takes time to grow a person.
Yeah. But you know, the beautiful thing is, and I'll end with this, Craig. This is the thing that I love. And I tell this to the city council as much as I can. We're in the business of firsts. Things we do give a kid a chance to hit their first ball. Right. Or catch their first fly ball or score their first goal. Or like, we're in a business of firsts. The first time to, you know, a kid, a 3 and 4 year old kid during the day is learning how to stand in line and not bite their friends. But then when they come to us in the afternoons, they're learning how to stand in line and kick the ball in the right direction.
That's it.
So we're in a business of first. And if you can just think about it, that's one of the things that we can provide. That gets me excited.
Yeah,
it really does, because the confidence that the kid gets, the you know, the exposure and the experience that a kid gets from those things, and those things don't come from, I mean, there's some adversity, but you know, if they stick with it, the things that we provide, you know, like our archery program is doing wonderful. And kids that are involved with archery, thank you, Haley and Lindsay, and there's other guys there, you know, they are giving those kids that wouldn't be in other activities, that they found their activity and they're doing great.
Yeah, I'm so glad you mentioned about, you know, sometimes you get lost in the monotony and so many kids coming through and you forget about how impactful it is to that one kid to have that first experience.
I get excited. Like I'll spend $1 million for that kid to have the opportunity to catch his first fly ball.
Yeah.
And then go get ice cream.
I remember both of those actually. For me, when I was young, I was terrible at baseball. Yeah. By the way, I could catch okay, couldn't hit the ball to save my life. But I remember I had this one coach, and his whole objective was to help me hit my first ball.
Perfect.
And I remember it so well. I can, like in a second, I was in Port Allen and I connected on that first, but probably the only ball I ever hit.
Yeah.
But it sticks with me to this day.
I remember my first home run.
No way.
A game-winning home run. I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, over the right field fence. So that shows you that it was a lucky hit.
Yeah.
But I was on the coach's shoulders.
No,
that was pretty cool, man.
That was.
But see, we have the opportunity to give that to kids
all nonstop. That's your full-time job.
So those are the little wins.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got tons of stories of, you know, my kids get bothered because I get so excited and I talk to all these little kids and they need encouragement, you know, but then you see some kid pull off something and grow, like it just, I got to tell folks about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got tons of them in my brain, just watching stuff.
Yeah. So Parks and Rec, it seems it's just such, talk about a sticky profession. People get in it and they just stay for life.
It is. But the thing is, if you're not flexible and you don't care about people, you're not going to be in it very long, because the things that we have to do on a daily basis, you know, it's not all meeting Coach Bruce Pearl.
Yeah.
Every one of these guys are going back and have to take out trash and sweep floors.
That's right. That's it.
But that's part of it, you know.
Yeah. That's part of serving the community.
That's part of serving.
But it's very fulfilling. And if you want a job that has impact and you have purpose in life and you can see it in your community, I can't think of a better career.
I wish there were more positions available.
Yeah.
You know, like I might have one or two. I wish I had 10.
Right.
Because then you could bring people in. Now other places do, but like everybody that we've got here, that they believe in what we do.
Right.
They apps from their Louisiana, from the rooter to the tutor.
That's right.
You know, they believe everything in what we do as Parks and Rec. And, you know, a lot of times we lose that, but that's why you come to conventions and meetings to kind of get that back.
That's it. Well, man, I'm so glad you're here. We finally got you on the show live. Of all the this is way better than doing it remotely.
It is. Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah,
this was fun. We might have to like do a weekly thing, or no, it was fun, and we appreciate you, Craig. I mean, I think if you know, people need to know how wonderful this can be, because a lot of times all we get are complaints, or they see us you know, with the police officers and the unruly fans, you know, handling and programming and operating stuff. But, you know, I think other people need to see that the motivations for this career are so intrinsic, but they're solid and they're soulful, and they're just, you know, look, put my information up there. Anybody that wants to talk about Park and Rec, and if you want to get talked out of it, don't call me. I mean, I believe in what we do.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for I remember you were one of the first few that bought our sports arena light, and you kind of helped kick me off into that. And now I am literally dedicating my whole life to creating a media company for Parks and Recreation, so we can highlight guys like Peter and give them a platform to stand on and just tell more about Parks and Recreation and what they do. And so you can support the channel either by allowing us to create a little 60-second for your promotion for your city that you could put on your website, or you could always consider buying our sports arena light that Peter's used on a lot of his baseball fields.
Our natatorium.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Our natatorium was dark for 10 years.
Yeah.
10 years, 2 weeks and a couple of installs with you guys.
Right.
It's great.
Yeah.
Totally transformed the space.
Well, I love using our one little product. I call it our Girl Scout cookie. You know, we don't, we're just like the Girl Scouts. They're not a cookie company, but they sell $800 million a year worth of cookies.
Well, but let me tell you, if I have time. So the deal is with Craig's lights, you get them from him, you get your local guy to install them, and you're still saving some. There's a lot of issues right now with these larger companies getting into the lighting business for energy savings, but yet that's still probably $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 more.
Oh yeah. Well, so I'll run the numbers for you. A lot of times if you've got say 40 lights on a baseball field, you're looking at maybe around $100,000 to get those to LEDs. With us, you can get into our lights for about $800 to $900 per fixture now. Yeah. And so you're looking at maybe $35,000 to put all new lights. And a lot of our people will put them in their maintenance budget. So if 5 lights go out, you just buy five lights, $4,500, and then in a few seasons you got all. And these are 100,000 hours, last forever kind of lights.
We've got we had one issue with a fitting, not a light, with a fitting. You guys made that right, but I'm proud to say we've got 2 or 3 in storage.
Oh yeah,
we got an inventory of your lights, but you had a solution. We had an issue. We had some problems. You educated me on lighting, but I knew what we needed to do, and so whatever we were able to do that saved us money as well. Now some places just need 1 or 2. Some places need all of them.
Yeah.
But either way, we're glad because it was a solution to our problem.
Right.
And we appreciate that, because a lot of times if it gets out of our hands, it goes to city engineers, it goes to the council, it goes to which involves architects.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's out of our hands. So I always wanted to be able to. I need to buy 10 lights.
That's it.
And I want to get them installed, and I can get them installed next week.
That's kind of where we fit in that small little niche, is that if you just need a single light, or you need 4 or 5 lights and you need them to be super high quality and last forever, and you'll install them yourself, or you've got a local electrician you can use. That's the small little slice of the pie that we occupy. And now, instead of being a lighting manufacturer, we just have a really good light that we sell to support the channel. So anytime you buy one LED light, 100% of the proceeds go
That's awesome.
back into.
We haven't talked about all this stuff, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah. So the Daily Parks and Rec show is completely funded by that.
Oh man.
And so it's literally like the Girl Scouts. They're not into cookie manufacturing. They use all of that cookie money to go form young women in leadership and outdoor activity.
Hey, look, there are that dude right there is worth talking to.
Yeah.
Drew from Trustful.
Oh,
but look, so I've done this for 8-9 years. I'm a youngster. There's folks around here that have wonderful stories, Craig, and I hope you get to all of them.
Help me recruit them in here. I know a lot of them are camera shy. Just say, hey, look, still a simple conversation.
Oh, we'll get them. I mean,
Let's get as many of them as we can while we're here.
We'll get them.
Fantastic.
I got about 3 right now. I can go track down for.
All right, let's go track them down.
That was awesome, dude.
Well, happy birthday, man.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
that was fun.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll party it up tonight. Let me go ahead and end the live stream real quick.
Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Today, we'll discuss how parks and recreation improve the well-being of our communities. These spaces promote healthy living, foster connections, and support local economies. Parks encourage active lifestyles by offering areas for walking, running, and cycling, while also improving mental health by reducing stress and boosting mood. They also strengthen communities by providing gathering spaces for local events, social interactions, and recreational programs. Economically, parks contribute over $140 billion annually. They support businesses, create jobs, and even raise property values, benefiting both the community and local economy. Parks are accessible to everyone, with inclusive programs for all ages and abilities, ensuring everyone can enjoy these spaces. You can help support parks by volunteering, donating, or simply visiting. Every action ensures parks thrive for future generations. Thank you for watching the Daily Parks and Rec Show. Follow us for more insights on how parks enhance our communities.